Have you ever wondered why we sometimes make decisions that seem irrational or even self-defeating? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of psychological traps, those sneaky mental pitfalls that can influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions without us even realizing it. From everyday choices to major life decisions, these traps can shape our behavior in surprising ways. In this video, we'll break down the most common psychological traps, explain how they work, and offer practical tips to help you avoid falling into them. Let's start our journey into the mind and uncover what really drives our decisions. Psychological traps are patterns of thinking that lead us to make errors in judgment. These traps are often automatic, meaning we fall into them without conscious awareness. They can be shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and even the way our brains are wired. Understanding these traps is the first step toward making better decisions and improving our mental well-being. Throughout this video, we'll explore several key traps, each with real-life examples to help you recognize them in your own life. So, what are the most common psychological traps we encounter? One of the most well-known psychological traps is confirmation bias. This is our tendency to seek out information that confirms what we already believe, while ignoring evidence that contradicts our views. For example, if you think a certain diet works, you might only read articles that support your opinion and dismiss those that don't. This trap can reinforce our beliefs, making it harder to change our minds, even when faced with new facts. Recognizing confirmation bias is crucial for open-minded thinking and better decision-making. Anchoring effect is another common trap. It happens when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor when making decisions. For instance, if you see a shirt priced at $100 and then see it on sale for $50, you might think it's a great deal, even if $50 is still expensive. The initial price sets a mental benchmark that influences your judgment. Being aware of anchors can help you make more objective choices. Sunk cost fallacy is when we continue investing time, money, or effort into something simply because we've already invested so much, even if it's not working out. Think about finishing a boring movie just because you've already watched half of it. This trap can keep us stuck in unhelpful situations. The key is to focus on future benefits rather than past investments. Letting go can be tough, but it's often the smarter move. The availability heuristic is our tendency to judge the likelihood of events based on how easily examples come to mind. If you hear about airplane crashes in the news, you might overestimate how dangerous flying is, even though it's statistically safe. This trap can distort our perception of risk and lead to poor decisions. To avoid it, try to look at actual data rather than relying on memorable stories. The overconfidence trap is when we overestimate our knowledge or abilities. This can lead to risky decisions, like investing in stocks without enough research or taking on tasks we're not prepared for. Overconfidence can feel empowering, but it often blinds us to potential pitfalls. Balancing confidence with humility is key to making sound decisions and avoiding unnecessary mistakes. A framing effect shows how the way information is presented can influence our choices. For example, people may react differently to surgery described as having a 90% survival rate versus a 10% mortality rate. Even though both mean the same thing, the words and context shape our perceptions and decisions. Being aware of framing can help you see situations more clearly and make more rational choices. Loss aversion is our tendency to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring gains. Losing $20 feels worse than gaining $20 feels good. This trap can make us overly cautious, sometimes missing out on valuable opportunities because we're too focused on what we might lose. Recognizing loss aversion can help you take balanced risks and not let fear hold you back. Status quo bias is our preference for things to stay the same, even when change could be beneficial. We might stick with a familiar routine or product simply because it's comfortable, not because it's the best option. This trap can prevent growth and innovation. Challenging the status quo requires courage, but it can open doors to new possibilities. Hindsight bias is the feeling that events were predictable after they've happened, even if they weren't. It's the classic, "I knew it all along" reaction. This trap can make us overconfident in our ability to predict outcomes and less likely to learn from mistakes. Acknowledging hindsight bias helps us stay humble and open to learning. Self-serving bias is our habit of attributing successes to our own abilities and failures to external factors. For example, if you ace a test, you might credit your intelligence, but if you fail, you might blame the teacher. While this can protect self-esteem, it also prevents honest self-reflection and growth. Recognizing this bias can help you take responsibility and improve. Groupthink occurs when the desire for harmony in a group leads to poor decision-making. People may suppress their own opinions to avoid conflict, resulting in choices that aren't well thought out. This trap is common in workplaces and social groups. Encouraging open dialogue and diverse viewpoints can help prevent groupthink and lead to better outcomes. The halo effect is when our overall impression of a person or thing influences our judgments about their specific traits. For example, if someone is attractive, we might assume they're also smart or kind. This trap can lead to biased decisions in hiring, relationships, and more. Being aware of the halo effect helps us judge more fairly and accurately. The just world hypothesis is the belief that people get what they deserve. This trap can lead us to blame victims for their misfortune, assuming that bad things only happen to those who deserve it. While it can make the world seem fairer, It often oversimplifies complex situations and reduces empathy. Recognizing this bias can help us respond with more compassion. Fundamental attribution error is our tendency to attribute others' actions to their character while ignoring situational factors. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you might think they're rude, rather than considering they might be in a hurry for a good reason. This trap can lead to misunderstandings and unfair judgments. Being mindful of context helps us see others more accurately. Dunning-Kruger effect is when people with low ability in a task overestimate their competence, while experts may underestimate theirs. This trap can lead to misplaced confidence and poor decisions. It's important to seek feedback and stay open to learning, no matter your skill level. Humility and curiosity are your best tools for growth. Optimism bias is our tendency to believe that good things are more likely to happen to us than to others. While optimism can be motivating, this trap can make us underestimate risks and overlook potential problems. Balancing hope with realism helps us prepare for challenges and make wiser decisions. Recency effect is our tendency to give more weight to the most recent information we've received, rather than considering all relevant data. For example, a recent news story might influence your opinion more than older, but equally important information. This trap can skew our judgments and decisions. Taking a step back to review all the facts can help you avoid this bias. Negativity bias is our tendency to focus more on negative experiences than positive ones. A single criticism can outweigh multiple compliments, affecting our mood and self-esteem. This trap can lead to pessimism and stress. Practicing gratitude and focusing on positive moments can help balance this bias and improve your outlook. Now that we've explored the most common psychological traps, it's time to talk about how to avoid them. The first step is awareness. Simply knowing these traps exist can make a big difference. Next, practice critical thinking and seek diverse perspectives. Don't be afraid to question your assumptions and reflect on your decisions. With practice, you can outsmart these mental pitfalls and make choices that truly serve you.